Hello, my friends. Hope you're enjoying some nice weather this weekend like we're having here in lower Alabama. Today, I'm not sure the weather could be any more perfect. I think we're supposed to be about a high of 58, not a cloud in the sky, light winds, low humidity, perfect. And as soon as I do this video and do a few things around the house, I'm going to get out of the house, go over to this little town that's close to where I live called Fairhope, Alabama. Cool little eclectic town. And then I'll probably also go into Daphne, Alabama. But anyhow, today I thought I would talk about understanding our dark side. I was reading in between my reading. I've got a couple of books going right now, going. So sometimes I'll just take some in between filler reading to give my brain a rest. I'm actually reading a really good one by Paramahansa Yogananda, Scientific Healing Affirmations, that I'm liking a lot. I'll probably end up sharing some stuff out of there and reading this long book on the history of Greece and the Greek culture. But today, like I said, last week I was doing a little bit reading of some Carl Jung and delving into the dark side. I've read Jung before, and I've got a quote here I want to share with you, and it also led me to a good article that kind of expresses understanding our dark side. First, let me read you the quote. This is the Jung. I really like this. Carl Jung, because a lot of times people want to just repress, not deal with anything of the darkness. It's all love and light, love and light, love and light, but it's not always that cut and dry. So Carl Jung once wrote that everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. In other words, repressing it just tends to make it grow and get even darker. Okay, sorry about that. Every time I use my iPad, I don't use my iPad very much. I use my iPad basically for my Kindle. But anytime that I've sent myself a message to click on an article or something, I click on it and it opens up funny. So anyhow, this is a website called pathretreats.com, and like I say, I'll link it below, but the title of the article is Why It's Important to Understand Your Dark Side. When you were little, were you afraid of the dark? Most of us were, and I doubt we ever thought to question this fear. We were almost naturally taught to be afraid of the dark because the dark is full of unknown things that might hurt us. But what usually happened when you turned the light on? You learned the unknown things were not so scary, and they were not so unknown. They were just part of the environment. We learned to associate darkness with scary and unknown, and we learned it's better not to speak with our dark thoughts and emotions. Turning the light on our emotional shadow is a lot more challenging than flicking a physical light switch on, so we avoid it. Superficially, it's easier. But this darkness of our soul has a life of its own which thrives whether or not we choose to acknowledge it. It's there and it's powerful. Understanding darkness. The fear of our emotional complexity grew as we grew, and with time became our shadow. It's a hidden part in us that influences our choices more often than we are aware. In truth, much effort goes into repressing and hiding it from ourselves and others. It's our dark side, the parts we are ashamed and afraid to show. But through denial, we fail to see that in the obscurity of darkness also lay our strengths. For reasons originating in the past, we have decided to negate and hide this dark side without exploring it further. And so in return, it keeps us distant from truly expressing ourselves. In many ways, hiding our shadow can be considered the highest form of betrayal. By concealing this part of us, we are saying we don't deserve to show our complete selves, thereby betraying ourselves. In return, secrecy, manipulation, and pretending take over large parts of our lives from fear of being exposed and rejected for the part of ourselves we are hiding. As mentioned, our shadow can show itself as weakness or strength. Becoming aware of our complete self allows us an opportunity for expressing strength. Ignoring these qualities, however, will always produce a damaging result. The more we repress these dark corners of our being, the more we face disorder in our personality. This can manifest as addiction, anxiety, intentionally failed relationships or jobs, or other behaviors that cause destruction to ourselves and others. To become aware of our shadow is to shed light on our earliest wounds and to give ourselves a chance for healing and transformation. But as long as we choose to close our eyes to this, the wounds will continue to decay while emitting poison into our lives. To deepen our spirituality, we must pass through the shadow. Any spiritual work must entail exposure and understanding of our shadow. Solely focusing on finding our light keeps us away from places of shame, guilt, jealousy, greed, competition, lust, and aggression. But it is these very emotions that must be worked through first before coming near our lighter sides. Even certain spiritual practices like meditation can become difficult when we try to ignore our shadow self. Its repression shows up when we shut our eyes and we're left with only our thoughts. As with all strong emotions, what we don't want to look at always keeps us contracted and in rejection. Deep down, we know these qualities and feelings reside in us, and hiding them leads us to a life of inauthenticity and sometimes incomprehensible self-destructive behavior. If our shadow is not acknowledged and embraced, the depth of our spiritual and personal growth is limited. Denying to look at the darkness is rejecting ourselves, the need to be received in totality by others. We start to over-identify with the side of ourselves acquired through our own perception of reality. This in turn shapes our personality, the superficial side of us, which the world meets. Our roles and personality try their best to help us feel worthy and lovable. For some, it is by being intelligent, successful, and powerful, while for others, it is the opposite. In whichever way our personality tries to control life, it remains just another attempt to be loved for something we know we're not. As long as this partial picture of ourselves is kept intact, we create separation. The message is, I don't want to look and feel certain parts inside me, and I prefer to judge others for showing and living what I choose to reject. Hence, choosing separation, inside and out. It is a painful cage of continuous isolation. Embracing the complete you. The way to our light is through darkness. Whether we want it or not, the dark side in us is very active, even though it is concealed and not evident to the outside. But we know it's there, continuously asking for recognition. The shadow should be met in a safe and loving environment. Otherwise, it is too afraid that its face will cause devastation and result in further isolation. When it's safe, we can start looking, seeing, and expressing what has been hidden from our awareness. There are many unpolished diamonds of strength, creativity, and beauty which we've kept limited so that others close don't feel small, intimidated, or scared. Speaking to our shadow is an immense step towards healing and self-love. Initially, when we embark on this exciting and necessary journey, we may not be sure who we really are. But this is only because we are so used to our mask that expressing our true self is like meeting a familiar stranger. Soon new possibilities, choices, and perceptions appear. Suddenly, we can face the many question marks in our life from a place of strength and authenticity. We strengthen our capacity to be in this world more fully and completely. So are you ready? I think I'm going to actually do some work with this. I've in 2023 for the past month, not every day, but most days, I've expanded my meditation practice to twice a day. And I generally go anywhere from like 40 to 50 minutes total for the two sessions. And sometimes I'll throw like a little quick session in between just to kind of breathe a little bit and reconnect. But I'm thinking like I might actually do some of these things where darker thoughts or darker themes that come up in my head on a regular basis. I might actually just explore some of those, and instead of trying to get away from them when the thought comes up, actually diving headfirst into them and just letting them sit in there and letting them work around and, not trying to push them down and repressing them. But I've read a little Jung in the past, and I would definitely like to read a little bit more of his stuff. Very interesting and got some very good thoughts on like how our nature and how our psychology and our brains work. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Get outside and enjoy this weekend, and we'll see you here again soon. Peace.